you should not summon for Yukong in Honkai Star Rail version 1.1. Now, you might be wondering, isn't Yukong supposed to be really good? Isn't she supposed to be on the same level as Ting Yun? Why should I not summon for her? Well, we're going to go over what she does today, because yes, she is very good, but the reason you should not summon on Luocha's banner just to get Yukong is because every player will be getting a free Yukong during 1.2. So if Yukong is your main unit that you want off of Luocha's banner, it doesn't make sense to summon because we're all going to get her for free anyways. We'll just have to wait a little bit longer. So Yukong is supposed to be a very great harmony unit of the imaginary element, which is also going to be really good for everyone's account because that's a free imaginary character. Because right now, pre-Luocha's banner coming out, if you don't have, well, you don't have imaginary. And having imaginary is going to help out a lot of people because, there are stages where having an imaginary character just makes so much of a difference, as well as their abilities to, delay actions with their weakness break and stuff like that. So it's definitely going to be great to have a free imaginary in Yukong, as well as her level of support is looking to be kind of crazy. So we're going to go over her kit here. And if you're interested in seeing more content relating to analyzing characters and all that fun stuff, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Now, let's go over Yukong. So her normal attack is just pretty standard. She just deals imaginary damage to a single enemy. Nothing too crazy there. Her skill gives her 2 stacks of Roaring Bowstrings. And when Roaring Bowstrings is active, the attack of all allies increases by a percentage. And every time an ally's turn ends, Yukong loses 1 stack of Roaring Bowstring. So it doesn't seem like it's the percentage per number of stacks. I think it's just it's kind of like Ting Yun's buff, I think, where it's just the single buff as long as she has any charges. And then once there's no charges, then there won't be any buffs until she gets the charges back. And when it's not Yukong's turn to gain the Roaring Bowstrings by using a skill, the charges won't be removed. So yeah, every time an ally attacks, one of the charges will go away, and then when Yukong uses the skill, she can bring back those charges. So it's definitely going to be important to work into your team order because you're going to want to have your DPS attack during the Roaring Bowstrings time, because the next 2 characters that attack after Yukong, they are going to take away those Roaring Bowstring stacks. So it'll be important for looking at when you're doing speed and stuff like that. And then we get to her ultimate, which has a 120 energy cost, which is reasonable. It's not too high. I think 120 is pretty average, honestly. So when using her ultimate, if she has any stacks of Roaring Bowstrings, all allies crit rate increases, as well as their crit damage by percentage based on the level of the trace. And at the same time, she deals imaginary damage to a single enemy. So that's going to be really good. Increasing crit rate and crit damage is going to be huge. You're going to be seeing a lot of crazy numbers because of that, depending on, how high level your trace is and stuff like that, and then also how much crit rate and crit damage you already have on your characters. For example, running her with my Mycela is going to be very fun because my Mycela has around a 50% crit rate, and then I think I'm at 80-something% crit damage. Even at trace level 1, that's going to increase me to 70-something% crit rate, and then over 100% crit damage, which is going to be absolutely huge. Now, let's move on to her talents. So for her talent, it makes it that basic attack also deal additional imaginary damage equal to a percentage of her attack, and also increases the toughness reducing damage of this attack by 100%. And this effect can be triggered again in 1 turn. So she's just going to be dealing some extra imaginary damage. I'm not sure just from the description if it's imaginary damage on basic attack for just her basic attacks, or if it's just in the team in general. And the effect only being for the toughness reducing damage. But I think either way, adding some more damage will definitely be nice. And it is scaling off her attack as well, so it does seem like you want to have a good amount of attack on her for sure, for these buffs to be even more of a benefit. Then we get to her technique. which I think is one of the best parts about her, other than her support. While in sprinting, movement speed increases by 35%, and Yukong receives 2 stacks of roaring bowstrings when she enters battle by attacking enemies. So the movement speed is going to be so huge for people who do like the farming routes and stuff like that, because like the sprinting is cool, but like it's not super fast. Like it's just like faster than walking, which is great, but it's not like ridiculously fast. As we saw in the 1.1 livestream, her actual like sprint is really fast, which is going to be so nice for all of people who are trying to do farming routes, get all those like overworld enemy materials and that kind of stuff, and just being able to move fast through the map. So it's going to be a really great quality of life, and because we're all getting her for free, everyone's going to be able to experience that, which I think is going to be so great for everyone. Then we're going to go over her major traces. So her first major trace at Ascension 2 makes it so that she can resist 1 debuff for a single time, and you can trigger that debuff resistance once every 2 turns, which is it's not too bad. It's not too bad for sure. Then you have the second one at Ascension 4. When she's on the field, imaginary damage dealt by all allies increases by 12%. So that's going to give her synergy with other imaginary characters, which right now it's only going to be Luocha and Welt. So I'll be interested to see how much of an effect that'll have on my Welt once I have Yukong and once I'm able to build her up a bit. Then lastly, her final major trace, Majestas. When Roaring Bowstrings is active, Yukong regenerates 2 additional energy every time an ally takes action. And that's going to be really great because that's going to be bringing her ultimate back, and if she has Roaring Bowstrings when she uses her ultimate, you get the extra crit rate and crit damage, which is just going to boost your damage a lot. I think she has the potential to be better than Ting Yun by a little bit. Like, Ting Yun is still great, don't get me wrong. Like, I think she is one of the best characters in the game by far. Definitely a top 2 support in the game. I do think Brawny is just a little bit better, but I think Yukong is going to be really great, and the fact that everyone is going to be getting her for free in version 1.2, there's just no reason to chase her on the Luocha banner. But yeah, that is my analysis of Yukong. Let me know what you guys are thinking about her in the comments down below. I think she's going to be really great. But with that, thank you all for watching. Be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you all next time.
Yeah.